Hey everyone, and welcome to yet another episode of Success Builders. Today we have a very special um, guest with us. We have Coach Kevin Melnick. He's actually my coach. I've known him for a few months now, and I'm really happy to have him on the show. How you doing, Kevin?
Awesome. Doing great. Thanks for having me. It's always nice to get invited to stuff like this.
Fantastic. And where are you calling in from today?
I'm in Vancouver, BC, the real Vancouver in Canada.
Oh, awesome. I love Canadians. They're such good people.
Most part.
Yeah. I've actually always been part of the Commonwealth. I first lived in South Africa, then in New Zealand. So I've always stayed within the Commonwealth, and now I'm associating with lots of Canadians as well.
Yeah, Canada up here, our last 9 years have been a bit of a bit shaky as far as our government goes. So a lot of people have been getting into online businesses and becoming entrepreneurs. So we're our country is full of people that sort of grew up watching their parents live a certain way, and now that's sort of unachievable unless you do something outside the box. So our community has grown so much, but obviously we do things globally, so we're able to pull guys, like yourself, New Zealand and Australia and all over the world. We have, I think, Diana's in Amsterdam, and we got some people in Poland. So yeah, it's cool business.
Fantastic. So the audience is going to be really interested to learn more about your business, but take us through your story, like how you got into it, and then explain to us about the business afterwards.
Well, to crush, like 10 years down into, a couple minutes here, I basically was a sales guy my whole life because I think I was 18 years old, worked for a construction company for 3 months, and then the guy just didn't show up one day. Filed bankruptcy and said, "Yeah, that's it." Uh, just wasn't coming back. And so I was trying to fight with like the workers' compensation board, try to get some money back. And, I had this realization of like, I can't let other people control my life. Like I can't be at the mercy of someone else's bad decisions. And so I got into sales simply for the fact of, I get paid on my efforts and I have no problem outworking my competition. That's one of the things that I've always prided myself on. If there's an advantage or if I can work a little longer, if I can do things a little better, I'm going to do that. And so sales, naturally was the thing I was drawn to. And then I bounced from sales job to sales job, always really fun jobs, working at gyms, energy drink companies, industrial supply, like Fastenal, I worked at for a bit. And then I ended up at Harley Davidson, which was a dream job. It's just as cool as you think. But the problem is if you live in Vancouver, it's seasonal, rains a lot. So, right now you could sleep in front of the door at Harley and no one's coming in. And so you'd make, like tons of money and then you drop down in
Yeah.
the winter months. And, after a while, you're making 60 grand a year. And you're like, I need more. I live in the most expensive place in the world where the average income is 12, like to buy a house is 12 times the average income.
Oh, that's
Uh,
crazy.
yeah, it's
So,
ridiculous. So
so how do you buy a house? It's like you can't.
a lot of people don't. A lot of people are
Yeah.
renting. Like my goal, my wife and I were gonna rent out my townhouse for probably $3,500 a month and go buy a province over and get a mortgage for probably $3,000 a month. And realistically, when we everything washes out, it's like $500 a month to live in a brand new house because I just happened to buy this at a really awesome time.
Yeah.
So a lot of people they don't have the ability to buy out here. That's just the way it is. And if you do buy out here, you're buying way out east. Like it's an hour and a half drive into the city.
No, it's crazy.
So that was actually one of the main reasons why I got into this particular business was I needed leverage. I needed people to work with that had the same goals and vision that I did. And I knew that if I fully committed, they always say if you build it, they will come. Uh, if I was 100% committed to this one thing, that I knew that I would attract the people that, were sort of on the fence, a little bit hesitant, don't know who to trust, don't know where to start. And, you see someone who's like, I'm doing this. Like, this is the only thing I'm doing. I'm going to the top. Let's go. And I was able to build, a pretty nice sized team. But, if I didn't do that, then I'd probably be stuck in a job because when I was at Harley Davidson, I actually left Harley to go to the oil field because literally I had 20-year-old kids driving brand new $100,000 pickup trucks into the dealership, and this one kid brought in a shoebox full of money,
Oh, wow.
like a Nike shoebox full of cash. Where did you get this? He goes, you got to go to the oil field, man. I'm like, oh, I'm not doing the oil field. I'm not an hourly worker. I'm not built for that. I'm a sales guy. I'm a different breed. But, I was grade 12 educated, didn't have, a ton of time to go back to school or get a second job or whatever. And so, or buy a business even at that point. And so I ended up taking the savings that I had to buy an excavator course to go up there to make this $100,000 a year, only to get taxed 38%. And then three layoffs in 4 months because the oil crashed at the end of 2014.
Oh, yeah, I
Like,
remember that.
yeah. So I
Crazy.
started like this whole journey in the summer of 2014, was started to work in September, and by December, January, we were laid off. And so I had three different jobs all laid off in that time frame. And you really, it really gives you perspective when you have the contrast in your life of what you don't want. And I think this is the thing that prevents a lot of people from moving into business and entrepreneurship, is that, you know, they may say like, oh, my life's not that great right now, or I wish I had more money. But it's like, yeah, but your life doesn't suck. Like when your life sucks, when you're in the oil field and it sucks and you're away from your family and you're overworked and you're underpaid and you're up at 3:45 in the morning and you're getting to bed at 9 p.m. It's freezing cold, like in these little towns that they build out of these portables. It's
Right, right.
minus 40, man. Like I remember like
Oh,
sitting in bed, like with all my clothes on, shivering.
yeah.
I'm like, I felt like I was in the army or something,
Yeah, it
in
just
World
sounds
War
like
II,
it.
sitting there like shivering out in, Bastogne or something. And I finally got to the point where I just asked myself, I'm like, what am I doing here? Like, I've been a smart guy, I've saved my money, I've always been a performer. How did I end up in this position? And it was because I was scared to take any risks, which is funny because, everyone was telling me, go to the oil field, get a trade, you'll have work forever. And so, although I spent like $30,000 to get there, that's like the training, the CSTS, all these courses you got to take,
Right.
the travel, the gear, like everything. It was probably 25 to $30,000 to get there. And then the whole thing flipped upside down in 4 months. But people look at, a business opportunity and they go, oh, that's too much. I can never do that. But they'll go do the day job, no problem. But when the story of your life, the vision you have for your life and the life that you're living don't add up, they're like this,
Mhm.
then you got a problem. And so my goal was like, okay, I'm like this. I need to get in an alignment here. And I basically got to a point where I told myself that now is the time in my life where I make that transformation, like the caterpillar to the butterfly.
Yeah, exactly.
This is like, everyone knows. I don't care who you are, where you're from, how you grew up, that there's going to be a time when God or whatever you believe in is going to call on you to step up. It's time to go, man.
Yeah. It's that line
Time.
in the sand moment, right?
Yeah,
It's like the line is drawn, you have to step over it or stay exactly where you are, right?
exactly. I
Um,
mean, everyone knows that like there's comes a point in your life. I was 29 years old looking at 30. I'm like, I will not have the life I want if I keep doing this.
mm.
You know what I mean? It's like you're on the Titanic, it's going down. Are you going to go sit by the violin players and enjoy this little bit till you go into the frozen abyss? Or you're going to
You're
jump
gonna
on the
swim.
life raft and paddle into the
Yeah,
darkness, hoping to God that you're going to survive. And that's what entrepreneurship is. It's like you go out into
exactly.
the open ocean and you're like, I don't know what's going to happen to me, but I knew exactly what was going to happen if I stayed in the oil field or at a day job. You know,
Yeah.
no $1 million a year, no big house on the lake, no helicopters, no traveling the world, none of that stuff, no giving back. And, you know, again, the story of my life when I was a kid was I'm going to be super successful. I'm going to be one of those guys that makes it. And so, 29 years old, I'm looking at my life. I hated everything about it. I hated the job. I hated the travel. I hated the weather. The people up there. No, everyone was miserable. No one's read a book since high school. Like it was brutal. And so I just told myself, I'm like, when the opportunity comes, the next opportunity comes, I'm taking it no matter what. Like, even though my mind, oh, well, what if, and oh, I don't have the money, and what if this, that? It's like, no, no, the heart was like, we have to do this, or we are not the person that we thought we were. And that was really the deciding factor, you know. It's not the money, you know, it's that belief of, are you who you think you are, or are you becoming the person you think you could be? And when you hit that point, and this is the beauty of our business, is I know that everyone will hit that point. It might happen at 20, might happen at 30, might happen at 50, but it's going to happen. And if you're set up with the right coaches, the right team, the right products, the right infrastructure, you're going to take all of that energy, all of that human potential, and you're going to put it into something that can change your life. And, you know, when people ask me, Kev, what do you do? I don't say, you know, I'm a distributor. I don't say that I'm an online marketer or anything like that. I don't even say I'm a coach. I say I invest in human potential. People go, really? I go, yep. If you see what I see and you can do what I've done, then you're going to help me change my life. And there is no higher ROI than finding somebody that believes that they should be doing better than they are and you giving them that opportunity.
That's right. I mean, one thing that is lacking in society nowadays is um, support and having people really truly believe that you're capable of something more, because your employer doesn't want to believe that you're something more than the job you're assigned to, because then you won't be at the company, right? So it's not in their interests to be, to believe you to be someone better, you know. They will keep you at a certain level, right? And only by surrounding yourself with coaches and with people that have the mindset of abundance and of something greater can you truly level up, right? But what it takes, though, is for someone to come into your life and offer you an opportunity, which I'm pretty sure that's what happened to you at some point. Um, so
Yeah,
tell us about
actually.
that.
So, okay, so do we want to talk about the business and what it is and how it works and all that sort of stuff? Are we good?
Yeah, sure. Why don't you tell us how you came to know about the business, and then you
Well,
can
yeah,
talk
because
about how
that's
it works.
everything
Yes.
sort of ties together.
Yeah,
So,
you do it your way. It's cool.
okay, so I was 22 years old. So basically, one of my really good friends, one of my best friends, ever since grade three, he had bad stomach issues, and his family immigrated here from Hungary in 1993. His mom was a nurse, going through the Canadian health system, trying to figure out what was wrong with her son. His name's Blaj. And he ended up getting his gallbladder taken out because it wasn't producing enough bile, which regulates your pH, da da da, whatever. Three specialists were all like, this thing has to come out. And so he got it taken out. His symptoms went from like a 3 out of 10 to 100 out of 10. And I remember going to his house one day. He's curled up in a ball in his bedroom. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? It's like middle of summer, 30 degrees. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, dude, I can't move. Like, I'm dying. He's like crying. He's dying. And so his mom gave up on Western medicine and started researching like what's wrong with my son. Is it diverticulitis? Is it IBS? Is it Crohn's disease? Like what's wrong with my kid? And as she's doing this research, she's finding out that electrolyzed reduced water is a potential cure for every single one of these things that could be a possibility. And she's like, well, this is by far going to be the best shot at it because it covers everything, right? And so she bought a machine from Enagic, sight unseen, first year that it was in Canada, 2008 or nine, I believe. And within like 24 to 48 hours of drinking this water, hydrogen water, he went from couldn't walk, couldn't work, couldn't do anything to completely fine. Like nothing ever happened to him.
That's amazing.
And so we go to his house one day, middle of summer, again. And he's like, dude, you got to try this water. You got to try this water. And I'm like, okay, cool. And like, remember, I'm 22 years old. So I get into his kitchen. He fills up this cup, hands me the cup. He's like, taste it. So, what do you think? Tastes like water. He goes, no, no, really taste it. I'm really tasting it
Tastes like
now.
water.
I'm like, dude, it's water, right? He's like, no, 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 this is, and he starts going over of what it is. And so, uh, again, we're young kids. We all go to this beach. It's called White Pine Beach, which is about 20 minutes away from Balage's house. And, we grab like a big bottle of blueberry Stoli and we drinking this thing on the beach. And we get back to his house. And he's like, if you drink this water, you won't get hungover. We're like, what? Are you serious? So we start slamming this water and woke up the next day completely fine. And that was the first time I'm like, all right, this is a little
There we
bit
go.
different. This is a little bit
Yeah.
different. So we got this VHS tape. This is like a week or two later, because basically what happened was Balage's results were so amazing that his mom, Susanna, went to every single person that she knew, her friends, her family members, her neighbors. She's like, you got to try this water. So at the time, Balaj was working as a bartender at a restaurant. So he's working night shift, like 6 to 12 or something like that, 6 to 11. And so during the day when his mom was at work, all of these people are coming over to the house to fill up these giant water bottles with this magic hydrogen water. And they're coming like, oh, my skin cleared up, my acid reflux went away, my joints are feeling better, my hair's growing back stronger, like these crazy, crazy health results. And so his mom starts selling, a machine here and a machine here and a machine here. And then Balazs finds out that there's a business behind it. And when you see the commission in this business is ridiculous. Like, we just went over in our team meeting, like the commissions, like you can do $161,000 a year with two sales a month. It's nuts. You can do $100,000 a year with like one sale a month. It's pretty substantial. So we see this VHS tape like on the screen or whatever, like old school, it's probably from like 1992 or something. And it goes over the water and the machine, how it's, original equipment manufactured, it's a privately held company, and it's patented, and it's a medical device, and all this sort of stuff. Gets to the end, and it's like, oh, you got to buy one. And I just shut down because I'm like, oh, I'm not buying this. This is a scam. And I almost felt like I was duped because I'm like, oh, this is great. I want one, but well, I have to buy it. And like, how, 21 years old. I was like, if this was so good, it'd be on the news. The government would be talking about it, it'd be in Costco's. Like, I started laying out all of these things, which is just a smoke screen. It was just, I didn't want to admit that I didn't want to spend the money because I was scared. Because honestly, if I had, that sort of money, I would have probably bought a motorcycle or something. And so I became the biggest skeptic. People are like, oh, look, I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm like, no, no. You can't be a bigger skeptic than me. Not only was I a skeptic, I actively tried to discourage my friends that got into it not to do it. Like I was that bad. Like I was the worst of the worst of the skeptic. I didn't just keep it to myself. I tried to tear down people that were doing it. And then all of this stuff, with Harley and the sales jobs, whatever, oil field, 7 years later, I'm in the oil field, 267 pounds. I blew out my ACL and lateral meniscus in Australia on a
Oh,
pub
jeez.
crawl in 2012. Walked on it for 2 months because I was stupid. Drinking all day, walking on a broken leg. I actually was in was it Byron Bay, and like the most eastern point is like this giant lighthouse on the very top of a mountain. I walked there on a broken leg. Like
What?
it was, I don't know why.
That's
I don't know why. Anyways, but what ended up happening, I pulled my hips out of alignment, pulled my back out of alignment. I blew out both my shoulders in motocross. I slipped a disc in my back, doing deadlifts when I was young. And now I'm 30 years old and I'm like, I feel like I'm 100. And I'm just sad like all day long. I had nothing to look forward to. I wasn't proud of myself. And just like you said, someone called me. Hey,
yeah.
Kev, you're not an oil field guy. Balaj is doing 20 to $30,000 a month. Come do this business with us. And that's all it took. He had zero sales. He never sold a machine in his life. Zero. He wasn't some dude making $1 million. He was just like, you can do this. I'm telling you, take a shot at it. So I thought about it for a sec. I knew about the water. I knew about it all, but I saw the money and I was like, I came up to this oil field to try to make $100,000 a year, only get taxed 38% of my income. So realistically, I'm only making 60 grand or 5 grand a month, which is what I was making back home. I'm like, this isn't worth it. What are you crazy?
No.
I used to sleep in every day, work at a cool Harley dealership, and now I'm up in the middle of fucking nowhere in the frozen tundra, taking orders from some dude that's been there a little longer than me that I don't respect outside of this. this work site because he has nothing going for him other than this job, you know? And, I just got to the point where I was like, if I don't do this, I'm going to be kicking myself so hard that I don't like, I knew it. I knew it was that thing. Like, God, I was like, dude, Gav, wake up. Let's go, bud. This is that thing you've been waiting for.
Love it.
And so, I came back home, got my old job back at Harley because I was top sales guy. And I basically started doing this business. I did my first 12, well, depends on how you look at it. It's either 12 or $22,000 in profit in my very first 6 weeks, if you were to count everything with that I got. So it was about $20,000 in my very first 6 weeks. Ended up doing my first 55, 60,000 in commission in 9 months. And then I quit my Harley job December 3rd, 2015 for the second time. And
They must have
then
been pleased.
yeah, yeah. Well, I walked in one day and he goes, "Hey man, are you working for us or are you working for yourself?" I was like, "Well, if you're asking me to choose between you or myself, like I'm gonna pick me." He goes, "Well, you
Obviously.
can take your 2 weeks." And I said, "Can I leave today?" He goes, "Sure." And it's funny
Sweet.
because like you get into your car, you're driving away, you're like, "Oh man, here we go. This is great." And then you get home, sit on the couch, and you're like, "Oh my God,
Uh-oh.
I have no job. I'm unemployed. Like if I don't make this business work, I'm drowning." Like that, and people think starting a business is scary. No, 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 no. Starting a business is easy. You have so much help. The people that are, your sponsors, your upline, everybody wants you to succeed. Everybody is going to be there to help you out and pick you up and motivate you and everything. That's not the hard part. The hard part is when you go full time. Is when you leave that lifeline of your day job and you're like, okay, I'm doing this. And if I don't do this, I'm screwed. And so for about 8 months, maybe a year, I did it all offline, knocking doors, making my own flyers, going to car dealerships, going to doctor's offices. I went to the mall and I prospected all the stores in the mall. I did everything. I did things that most people wouldn't do if you paid them. And I did it on my own effort because again, that's how I'm built. Like go make, if you want something, go make it happen. So I did very, very well. I hit the leadership rank within like my first year. And from there, everything started to shift online. Mid 2016, end of 2017, everything started moving online. And then it went from, oh, I'm an amazing sales guy that's absolutely crushing it, to, okay, it's not about sales anymore. It's about, branding and cost per click and lead costs and funnels. And I was like, I was so out of my loop because I'm like, no, 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 just I want to talk to people. Like I want to shake hands. I want to, I
Yeah.
want to transfer energy. I don't want to sit there and geek out on the computer all day. It's just not my style. So I resisted it. And then it took me about almost a year to really understand like, hey, the world's changing. You got to do this whether you want to or not. And so we got our really started putting our team together. That was probably April of 2017. We did really, really well for a few years there. We rebranded into Legacy Builders, I believe in 2020. And from there, using different systems, and we're always kind of Frankenstein system, getting a little better, putting a little extra piece, extra piece, extra piece, extra piece, but nothing really was perfect. And then in 2023, we decided, all right, we're building what we want to build. We're going to the top. We're spending the money. And so we invested $60,000 into building this system, this platform, and everything that you could possibly imagine is inside of this platform now. And so now it's this healthy balance of like all the systems, automations, branding, everything's already set up. Now it's just the sales guys that see the vision. All you're basically doing is making contact, sharing your vision, sharing your story, getting into alignment with this person, showing them something they've never seen before, and then basically letting them know, like, hey, if you come in and you join my business, this is where you're going to be. This is what I'm going to do for you. This is what you're going to do for me. This is where we're going to be in a year, 2 years, 5 years. This is what you can expect. And if we both do what we say we're going to do, we're both going to win. And it's just like a revolving door of people that are looking for opportunity because I mean, look at inflation and the price of gas and milk, and it's crazy. And
Oh,
what would
madness,
an
yeah.
extra $5,000, $10,000 a month do for you?
Yeah, it could change a lot of lives. And it could help them get that home that they previously couldn't afford to get, you know?
Yeah.
Because like one of the most important things is to have a stable home. I mean, especially if you're starting a family, because you don't want to be one day getting a call from the landlord and say, "Hey, I've got my family coming down, and I need this house back because my family's going to stay there now," and they kick you out, right? You know,
Yeah.
that that's scary. And then you've built a home there for the last 3 years, whatever it may be, and then all of a sudden now you've got to find somewhere else to go, and places aren't always available that easily, you know.
Yeah,
And
absolutely. I mean, especially out this way. I mean, unless you just want to keep going east because we have mountains, ocean, border. It all goes this way. And so I knew when I was young, I'm like, it's funny because like when I was young, the only thing I cared about, I'm like, I just need a house. If I buy a house, I'm set. I have somewhere to live. I know I'll at least be stable. And that was the biggest thing was I need to buy a house. I need to get myself into a position where I can start in basically building equity. And but I realized like funny thing is I'm super disciplined and I'm a super go-getter, but I'm also ridiculously lazy. I want the biggest impact with the least amount of work. The reason why I do what I do isn't to have Ferraris and Lamborghinis and whatever. It's to sleep in when I want to cuddle my wife for 20 minutes or a half hour every single morning, not to get up and rush to a job, not to be told what to do and sit in traffic. Like my morning routine, like I tell you guys on the team, I'm like, don't call me or expect to hear from me until 1 o'clock because
yeah,
my morning is my morning. I get up, I read my book, have my coffee. I do a little bit of follow up, do a little bit of work. I take my dog to for a walk. My wife and I go to the gym, and then we come back home. We have something to eat, and then okay, all right, I'm ready to work. But like that's not till 1 o'clock. I mean, of course it's 7:30 right now, so we work a little bit later. But the point is like you remember, Kate, do you remember when you were in school, like elementary or high school,
yeah,
and you were sitting in class and you're doing this, like, man, I all I want to do is be at my in my bed right now.
yeah,
That was
man.
me.
Yeah,
That was
yeah,
me
me
forever.
too.
So,
Me too. No, that's fantastic. I mean, I know exactly how you feel because, like, spending time with family is so important, especially if you have kids. I've got 4 kids, and my first 2 kids, I spent all my time working, and my relationship with them isn't as close as with the 2 younger kids who I've been around for. I've actually been home for them, and I got to be around for all those moments. Whereas before, I was at a job. I was in the car dealership. I was working weekends. I was working, in the cold in the yard. It's like that's not a way to live. My father also was, and still is, a very hard worker. He had his own business, but he didn't. He, you can't call it a business because it relied on him. It's a solepreneurship. Um, you know, it's all based on his trade. If he's not there, the business doesn't run. So this is the beauty of what we have is that we create a business that can run even when we're not there. And it creates legacy for our families, and that's really important.
well,
Yeah.
like I said, all I had to do was find people that wanted to do what I did.
Yeah.
The key to freedom is leverage. Whether
Yeah.
you're getting that through investments or you're getting that through, people power, you need to be able to earn without having to physically put in the work. Like you need to be able to work one time, two times, 10 times, 100 times, and have it consistently, snowball from there. And it blows my mind the people that go, this looks like a scam. It looks like a pyramid. It's like everything is a pyramid. School is a pyramid. Your
Good
job's a
job.
pyramid.
Yeah.
The church is a pyramid. Everything's a pyramid. The difference between your pyramid and my pyramid is I can get to the top. And the only way I get to the top is by helping other people get to the top.
Exactly.
In your job, like you're saying, your boss or whatever, they don't want you to get to the top. They want you to do your job and shut up and be a good employee and don't complain and just fill that spot. And again, it takes a contrast of getting up every day, sitting in traffic, missing your daughter's dance recital, not having that vacation day, not having enough money until you just finally say, like, what am I doing? Like I'm 39 years old. I'm halfway through my life. I don't have time to be waiting around anymore. Like you gotta go at some point. You gotta move at some point. Some people is at 25, some's 30, some just at 40, some's at 50. But like there's always this. this shift that happens. And then, there's people that settle and, do whatever. But I think the reason why some people settle isn't because that they want to settle, is they haven't had the right opportunity. They've had no one offer to coach them or to give them some advice or guidance or whatever. I think a lot of people, especially in that 28 to 40-year-old range, that's when you really look at your life and you start being like, okay, maybe I don't know everything. Maybe I do need help. Maybe I should reach out to somebody else. Maybe somebody knows something that I don't. Instead of being
Yeah,
some 22-year-old kid, I don't need to, well, bro, I know everything. I don't need your help. Like the amount of, leads that you get that are like, I don't need your help. And this business is a scam. I'm like, bro, you're so far behind. You think you're first. Like, and it's sad.
full
It's sad
circle.
because it's, oh man, I'm way ahead. This is great. It's like, no, no, dude, you are so far behind.
He's been lapped
Uh,
several times already.
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
so funny. I actually haven't heard that before. I'm going to use that. Hey, so before we close, I'm going to ask you two things. One
yeah.
is going to be, what does 2025 look like for you? And number two is a final message you would like to leave with the audience. So kick it off.
Well, they're both kind of combined together.
Sure,
So,
do it.
2025, we're shifting the culture of our team. Throughout my 9-year career, I've always had like partners in the, I guess you would call it the leadership part of things, like the team and the systems and the group or whatever. And I've always had somebody that was more, like the holistic, the more the water, the feature benefits to balance out my drive of sales and marketing and, you know, get after it. Results matter. Like keep your emotions away. Let's go. This is a job, right? So I've always wanted to find that balance. And this year I've decided, no, 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 we're going full business, we're going full money, we're going full investment, we're going success, we're building wealth here. Because the fact is you can't change someone's life with the product, the health with the product, without selling them one of the products. So we're going to lead with this shift of, results matter and set your goals and track your metrics and do all these things that you need to do. Like you say, you're in the car business. Like there's people out there that see what we see, have what we have. They just don't have the opportunity yet. And so my message to anybody out there is if you're someone who really wants to build wealth, like money matters. Money solves 90% of most people's problems. But once you solve the money problem, you can start working on everything else. You start working on, the relationships and the personal development and all this sort of stuff. If you don't have the money burden. Now, of course, this business is a personal development journey with a compensation plan attached to it. You got to read the books, you got to show up to the meetings, you got to do the works, you got to do the trainings. But once you replace your current income, and this is something that I've said since day one, a lot of people identify with what they do. If I meet someone, hey, like, what do you do? Or tell me about yourself. Oh, I'm a carpenter. It's like, no, 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 that's what you do for a living, but you're not a carpenter. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're a human being with interests. If I asked you at 8 years old, who are you? You're not going to say I'm a firefighter or a carpenter or a waitress. Like, no, I'm going to be this or I'm going to be that. And you have these massive dreams. So what I try to do for people is like, hey, let me show you how to solve the money problem. Let me show you how to take the money that's going to the government through your withholdings account, the money you've already made at your day job, invest that in a smart way to buy a business, start building leverage in your life, get the lifetime bonuses, and then you can do whatever you want with your life. Like what you really, really want to do with your life. And like I said, once you get to that point, 20, 30, 40 years old, you start weighing out your options and you go, maybe the risk isn't really that risky. Maybe not doing it and getting to the end of my life and being like, probably should have done that thing. And we've all gone through those before. So, the message is if you're even remotely interested, have a call with me or have a call with yourself or somebody on our team. Like, come talk to someone who's doing this. Come see what we're doing. We'll show you exactly what it is. And I never pressure anybody. I'm never twisting arms. I'm like, listen, if I got to convince you on the product, you're not it. The product's so good, it sells itself. I should not even touch the product. What I want to know is, do you see the vision for the potential of this business? And if you do, I will work as hard as you do at achieving your goals. And if we both work at 100%, we're going to get to, the desired outcome a hell of a lot faster. And so just have faith, reach out, doesn't cost you a dime. Check out what we're doing, and you never know. It changed my life so quick. It's crazy. So I can do the same for you too.
That's an amazing message. Thanks so much, Kevin. And what I'll do is I'll have all the links in the description of this post. So if anyone wants to reach out and wants to connect, we have an amazing course. It's like a 2 hour course. If you watch it at 1.5 times speed, it can be like 90 minutes or so, a little bit of a cheat. And I tell you what, like it'll open your mind. And like everyone that has seen this course loves it, right? So we'll include that in the link, guys. And if you're in a situation where you want to improve your life, you want to be someone better, we're here for you, right? And we're here to help you to be the leader that other people are willing to follow, right? So
Exactly.
until next time, I encourage you to dream big and build bigger. See ya.
Thank you so much.